Okay. So F2 last week wound up competing at Singapore. We wound up having a double Invicta victory with Minako winning in the sprint and Jack Miles in the feature race. Both championships could potentially be claimed this afternoon, but that leads the question: can Invicta win a double championship? Well, we'll find out as we head into round 8 of season 20 of the RPL F2 Championship. We are in round 8 at Baku in Azerbaijan. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. Titan Wolf on hand for main commentary tonight. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange thing to say here because I'm on the main comms today, but that is because my co-comm, who is usually the main comm, Ryan Searles, he has a unique, important event coming up later on, which also means that for you, my friend, unfortunately, you won't be here with me for Tier 1 later.
But I'm here right now for F2, which is at least good. I didn't know if I'd make this one, which I'm happy that I did. Nonetheless, we're starting qualifying, and we're starting with some rain, which is very interesting. I think this is similar to the race in Miami we commentated, where it might not be enough for wet tires. Ahead of qualifying, I just want to mention we've had 2 races so far this weekend since you speak of both championships. And in fact, the championship contenders did win. George Williams won in Tier 2. He took over the championship lead. Red Fire had the qualifying ban to serve. He had 12 seconds. The Pens had great pace, but didn't finish as well as he should have. And in Tier 3, we had Turbo and Uri, the 2 contenders up front. Turbo got in trouble. He could not finish as well. Uri won the race. I'm interested to see with Jack and Skither, who are the top 2 in the championship, can they both avoid trouble like we've seen so far this weekend, Titan? We're going to head into qualifying for the first time. And give us some predictions if you have any. Welcome along, chat. Welcome along, folks. We've not raced in Baku since the end of F1 22. So it's quite a while for Formula 2 and RPL to race here. We already see some cars, at least for me, going wide at turn 1. Goatley and Minako have both hit trouble. I think Minako invalidated, whereas Goatley, he hit the turn 1 barriers. So Baku is troubling for the drivers. Do not be surprised to see some drivers either narrowly avoid the wall tonight or have to back out going side by side to the castle section. But Titan, I was correct. We do have dry tires on a track that is starting to see rain.
Yeah, and it is really catching off a lot of these guys because I was just on board with Goatley. He went wide and clocked the turn 1 wall on the nose. And then Leo Lund had problems in turn 2 and turn 3, clubbing the wall there. And I guess Minako didn't get affected too much because he was all the way at the bottom of the pile for a little while. But now he's back up in 4th with his teammate.
That must have been glitched because he was behind Goatley on the leaderboard when Goatley hit the turn 1 barrier. I thought he invalidated and it just didn't pop up, but that's very interesting there. Our 3 main guys who've won races quite a bit this season or been contenders, Jack, Minako, Skidder, they run 1, 2, 3. Leo Lund won in China for the first time on his debut weekend. He is 5th right now. Not surprised to see that. Nonetheless, we're going to sector 3 now with Jack Miles in front, and Invicta 1-2 could happen, but George Williams is also looking to upset. He's not won in about 9 F2 seasons, so he almost did so last week in Singapore for those of you who weren't there, so he definitely is someone to watch out for, and he won here around the streets of Baku in Tier 3, so very good run from the high tech. We'll talk about some other news after qualifying about the F2 academies that we did not mention yet, but Jack Miles is coming across, and he now will claim 2 poles in a row. It is 2 in a row for Jack Miles, and it's also his 11th, meaning that the championship leader now is the most, has the most amount of poles by a Welsh driver. He was tied last week getting the pole in Singapore with BRT Griffiths.
And that's going to put Jack 30 now he's going to be 39 points ahead of Skither going into this race. Going into the sprint race, because
that's
like
huge.
I said, the championship is up for grabs here. And taking a look at everybody here, you got Jack and Miniko. They're starting on the front row in the feature race, but they'll be starting in 9th and 10th in the sprint race, because the front row for the sprint is going to be Reese with sprint pole and Eric making up being alongside him. In regards to what we were talking about with F2, as I mentioned in the sprint race, Miniko wound up winning the sprint race with Night Owl and George wrapping up the podium, and then Jack wound up winning the feature race with Night Owl and Miniko rounding out the podium as well. So Night Owl being getting second place in both events. But in the Drivers' Championship, Jack Miles is leading the championship now, 39 points ahead of Skither and 60 points ahead of Night Owl. In the Constructors, Invicta has a 107-point lead now over Dams, and they could win the championship there. Primo right behind Dams, only 16 points behind. And one big thing to note before we go lights out here.
5 seconds.
How long?
5 seconds now.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to it when we go lights out. We'll get to that later on.
Yes, we will. Race
But here we go. The 5 lights come on for the Azerbaijan sprint. And it's lights out and away we go. And Miniko jumped the gun too early, but Reese gets a really good drive out on the start here, catching Eric off guard, with Night Owl and Leo Lund, both Primas, right behind each other, trying to stay in tune here. Meanwhile, Miniko does contact in the background, by the way. That looks like a VAR making contact with someone. I think that was Zora that came out worse for wear in that one. Miniko was scrapping with Skither for the 8th place spot as they head down into turn number 3. The field starts to single file out now. No battles behind at this moment. But as I say that, Leo Lund trying to get the better of Night Owl. Night Owl lets him go. Leo is up in the 3rd and now free to pursue the 2 cars ahead.
So Leo Lund's gained a place, Miniko's gained 2, regardless of the contact with Skither.
Crash.
And we do. That is
Goatley.
Yeah, Goatley, who signed a big contract in Tier 2 for next season now down the field. Egg as well is in this field. He's not supposed to be, I don't think. He's gained 3 spots. I'm going to guess he tried to press spectate, and, you know, he clicked join session instead. But nonetheless, Leo Lund didn't have the best of qualifying. Ardell was celebrating in chat, by the way, because he said, "I beat Leo Lund. My life is complete." Oh, no!
Ooh, well, we got trouble.
It's not good for Leo Lund now. There was also a car that went wide in the background that was Night Owl, and Leo Lund, as he had trouble, tried to squeeze Ardell, and I think he put him in the wall. There's damage flying in the air here. Leo Lund, 2 seconds off the lead from Reese Dainty. There's so much trouble back here. Look at this. Too wide into this section. We've got Ardell bouncing off the barriers. Eric was the one affected with Leo Lund earlier when Leo Lund had his trouble. There's so much going on. And this car, this field, this pack, the gaggle of cars are all close to one another. And look at what it did. There was someone who was way too close in the straight, tried to pinch, and there's lots of damage going up in the air.
Yeah, and the big one is Blue Goggy. Blue Goggy bounced off the wall on the right part of the chicane and then wound up getting hooked over with somebody because he's got heavy damage on the right side of the wing. And that's Zora clocking the wall in turn 2. There should be some other cars that have damage. Yeah, George has damage. Skither has heavy damage as well. Oh my god! That is collision with his teammate!
Implications! And Zora went off in the same spot. Skither.
Is that not a safety car?
I don't know how, but Skither needs to gain points in the championship, and it's happened 3 days in a row where one of the championship contenders who desperately need it are in trouble. We have George making a move on Ardell. We had Jack Miles and Night Owl trying to get through. I think Ardell might be one of the drivers there who picked up damage. But I just want to say, as races out to almost a 3-second lead, we've had many photo finishes in the past in Baku in RPL, whether it's from F1 and not counting toward the final margin because of penalties. Same thing happened with F2 before in the very first few seasons of Baku, and everyone's trying to scatter getting by Ardell because he has major damage. There's a lot of drivers who picked up damage. I just want, oh god, he clunked the wall. I just wanted to say about those drivers who do have damage, part of that kerfuffle. I was going to say we could see some photo finishes by the end of the sprint just because everyone behind Reese, because that 3-second gap he has is so close to one another, all gaggled up. There was a car in the back of the field who was the cause of yellow flags. I think that was either Minico, Goatley, or Zora. But nonetheless, Leo Lund must take back second place over Eric. And Reese Dainty, the former F2 champion, is out to a 3-second lead, getting fastest lap again.
Yeah, and Ardell now heads off into the pits because he had to deal. He had True Streamer Boy right behind him. Egg, by the way, slingshots past True Streamer Boy to get himself into the 7th place spot. And True Streamer Boy is now has the last points position of the thing, and Egg clocks the wall in turn 7. That was an inadvertent mistake on his part. But now True Streamer Boy could be like a shark smelling blood, looking to go for a shot on the outside against Egg. But ooh, that was an unfortunate mistake. True Streamer Boy tried to do a switchback to try to get the spot, but accidentally wound up clipping Egg's rear tire on the exit, and now True Streamer Boy has damage. And yeah, quite a lot of these guys have damage, because I mean, literally, Eric's got damage, Leo's got damage, Night Owl's got damage.
Hit the wall.
Leo Lund just hit the wall?
Yes, he did, and he does have damage. That right end plate is missing. He did it in the castle section. I was just about to say to your point when you finished, Titan, I was going to say, I'm not surprised that a lot of people do have damage. Leo Lund's in the wall again!
That damage is going to be very nasty.
It's going to be very vital for this train as well for them to get by. Look at Eric hit the back of Leo. Jack hit the back of Eric. That's not the first time that happened, because the corner before the castle section, Jack was just giving Leo a few punts, and Egg has given up places to now Goatley and Minico. Faded says in chat, Egg did get permission to race, so we'll check on that later. Now down the main straight, we're going 3 abreast.
3 wide, oh yeah.
And this is all happening behind race leader Reese Dainty, who is loving this. He is getting to pull away. Jack Miles, who doesn't have any damage, takes the place. But will he keep the place now with DRS being enabled down this next straight? Night Owl is in the train too. Put George Up Williams also in the fight as well.
These guys are really thinking about pushing the limits here of these cars. I'm on board with Eric as he's trying to chase him down, but so far, unfortunately, no dice on that regard, and Egg has gone into the pits. He is done for the session. I think probably those mistakes wound up really costing him, and it was unfortunate. No dice for Egg. Very unfortunate there in that regard. I'm actually wondering in the driver's chat what Skither is thinking right now, because he's probably pissed on being knocked out of the race.
He hasn't said anything yet as far as I'm aware, but he said after missing a few rounds, he was going to come back and win this championship. And I'll tell you right now, it's going to take an absolute miracle for him to do that, the 2-time champion. And Jack is also a 2-time champion looking for 3, both drivers looking for 3. And I was going to say earlier on, Titan, you know, I'm not surprised a lot of drivers do have damage around here. I'm just surprised the amount of drivers who do. It's insane how many you have. And even the amount of good drivers who always seem to be up here having damage. Leo Lund being one of our most notable ones, the most recent F1 champion, having lots of damage, but trying to thug it out, it looks like. Yeah, Baku is a tricky circuit, and you know, we won't see a lot of track limit penalties around here, but you will see drivers on the edge and trying to do the best they can. Minico wanted to go for a move on Goatley. That didn't happen, but one of the things we will talk about throughout the weekend, maybe more so in F1, since it does kind of affect them a little bit with their academies. F2 next season is merging with F1 academies, so you have academy owners right now separate from F1, and that's leader. Reese. That's the leader. Reese Dainty pinned it. He had a comfortable lead, and he is off. And now back in this train, it's a 6-car fight for the lead now instead of a 5-car fight for second, all by on its own.
Jesus, this is Spa all over again for Reese.
Yes.
I mean, remember almost 2 months ago, Reese was leading the race in Tier 1 at Spa, and then spun out, which then resulted in Reese temporarily losing his drive at Red Bull. This is basically come back to haunt him again.
How do you do this with no pressure out in front? You have a 4-second gap, Jack. I mean, he had the pace to chase him down, but it was going to probably be the last 2-3 laps where he would have got to Reese. You know, catching's one thing, passing is another, but Reese did it all on his own. The one in Spa, he had a little bit of pressure from Gecko. He had passed previously, and, you know, he probably wasn't going to hunt down Leo Lund, but he had a little bit of pressure there. He didn't have pressure at all here. As we were saying, F2 academies will emerge with F1 academies next season. During season 21, the assistant will be the big one to help out there. I was just going to say, Gagi's an F2 team principal. Fade is an F2 team principal. There's quite a few F2 team principals who will technically not be team principals next season. But because of that happening, Jack Miles has found a lot of pace and brilliantly pulled out to a 2-second lead now. This is big for his championship bid.
Absolutely, and this is going to be a big one. And to be fair, as you were mentioning about F2 team principals, I'm also one as well. I took over for I took over for DAMS and AIX because of this fellow by the name of F4 filling in for SV, and then literally the first week he was asked, hey, do your lineups. F4 was like, okay, and then left the league like 2 minutes later. And meanwhile, by the way, Goat Lee being challenging and passing Miniko to get back into that 8th place spot. But yeah, there's a bit of a war there. Whoa, Miniko almost lost it out of turn 1. That's going to cost him quite a bit of time there. But that is really unfortunate. By the way, it looks like Leo Lund got a little close to try to sneak a peek at Eric for 2nd place. And I think that was either George or Reese that had a little brush with the wall there. Now, when you mentioned about the F2 academies being merged with the F1 academies, here is the teams that is going to be happening when we have a moment of breather. Ferrari Academy will be having Prima and Roden Carlin. Mercedes will take Lucas Oil Dams and MP Motorsport. Red Bull will have Campos, High-Tech, and Trident. While Alpine McLaren will have Invicta, ART, and AIX.
Well, I'll tell you right now, the one team that we are missing from that is VAR. The team we're missing this season is MP. We have yellow flags in the first sector. That's Ardell having a trip to the barrier. Zora had a trip to the barrier a few moments ago. Just to mention this train once more, the people I'm aware of that definitely do have damage that is visible on our screen. You have Leo Lund and George. And speaking of George, Reese Dainty is on the back
Reese
of
has
him
it
trying
too.
to make a move. Ardell's hit trouble again, but Reese Dainty is pulling out. George is defending, and George has defended almost a little too much. It cut off Reese, and Reese hit the back of him, nearly spinning him on the straight.
That would have been a disaster and a half if those two made contact and if those two wanted to crash, and that would have been a disaster fuel right there, honestly. But thankfully, Reese and George are safe and fine. Okay, that's just weird. On my screen, on the telemetry, on the on the telemetry part, I see the guys that they put the DRS, showed the DRS is active, but on our screen, on the stream screen, the DRS isn't even showing.
So Miniko's out of this race. Ardell still got taken up by Gagi again, so that may be what caused him to crash twice after, part of the frustration there. And, you know, with George and Reese, it just seems like it's all happening behind Jack Miles, whatever the case is. I know you don't have the tires pulled up, but I just want to mention Gagi, Ardell, Zora, they all went on to super soft tires, and that does mean that they will have one less fresh set for the feature race coming up. Leo Lund has now got close to the back of Eric, but I'm going to assume he's just going to stay in line here and wait for the DRS. I did see your invite to skid there. He did get one back there, but down the main straight will go. once more here in this DRS train, and I have to say, this is actually reminiscent with Leo London, with what Skither and Polo had happened and even Red Fire had happened in Season 7 F1, where wing damage and still keeping up with the next driver. But here goes Leo London.
Oh, here comes Leo.
He's ahead further back. Night Owl and George also trade places for the place right behind in the DRS train. Nice little move there for both.
Yeah, so one Prima gains a position, another loses a position. And by the way, we actually just found out, I guess he paused briefly to mention it, but Reese, the reason for his spin, loss of force feedback on his wheel. So Reese dealing with some minor mechanical problems on his wheel.
So I'm not going to give too much backlash there on Reese's end because of that. I mean, that's something in a way out of your control, even though it's with your equipment. But nonetheless, Reese Dainty, he may have just tapped the barrier there at the back of this train.
I couldn't tell from that angle, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled to the right there, out of the exit of the corner, so maybe he's just adjusting something on it. I don't know what's going on, but, I mean, that makes more sense as to why he spun out of the race lead just so randomly there. And
Night Owl just clubbed the wall in that castle.
Big time. And he's missing his entire front wing now.
That is going to hurt him, but to be fair, even if he goes in the pit, get rid of that, to basically fix the wing and stuff, if he does go in, he's only going to lose one spot. Because True Streamer Boy down in P7 is over 25 seconds ahead. What the fuck?
Zora's reversing. I was just going to say, Zora's not had a day. He crashed quite a bit, but
that seems like dangerous conduct right there, because I think he was going backwards on that entire mini straight.
I'll give him credit,
that
though.
Seems like dangerous driving.
He was at least out of the way of the leaders on the later side. I'm not going to say it's okay, but, you know, we have a move. George F. Williams, Leo Lund, they both have DRS on Eric, and will they both get him into the turn? George trying to box Leo in to make sure he didn't. George locked up majorly on the front and almost pinched Leo Lund, the end of his life right there. Reese Dainty did get Night Owl from that, and I want to mention Night Owl. You know, he's... Eric lost it! Big slide. I was going to mention about Night Owl. He had a podium yesterday in Tier 2. We know his pace is not just in F2 cars, so that's great to see, but, you know, it seems like one driver hits trouble, and then the next one does. It happened with Night Owl, and then it happened with Eric again.
Speaking of Night Owl, by the way, he is still staying out. I mean,
good.
I mean, technically, he has nothing to lose because he is in P6. I mean, he did similar to what I did in Singapore last week, but I mean, the only difference is that Night Owl was in the points. I was not.
Well, looks like the whole incident with Minico and Skither is not good on their end because them two are having it up for each other right now in the F2 drivers chat. I guess Skither feels like he got put in the wall there by Minico. And maybe that's what led to Skither retiring from the event. With Minico, he said he had no front wing, and it's just painful driving around. But a lot of these guys are having to do that from second to sixth. The difference with Minico was he was not running inside the points. Remember, the top 8 get points in the sprint, and in fact, Gagi had taken that place momentarily on Goatley. I think they had quite a bit of contact back there, but nonetheless, this battle for second to sixth is very important. That's why Leo Lund, you see him staying out, George staying out, and of course Night Owl too, because, I mean, Night Owl, if he pits right now, he'll lose the place of your streamer boy, and why risk that? Oh, Leo Lund at the barrier. Leo Lund at the barrier on the left side there, in the S section. He should be okay. He already has damage anyway. I don't think he's going to get any more, but Reese is going to make the move on him with now 2 laps to go. Jack Miles, we've not talked a lot about him. He's got a 7-second gap now.
Yeah, Jack is just running away from that lead. Oh! Pinch and smack job.
Yeah, I think Leo tried to pinch Reese right there, and Reese couldn't go any farther left, or Reese hit the wall and then hit Leo. Either one, they both made contact. A lot of touching.
Yeah, but now Leo looking to fight back against Reese out of turn 2, heading into turn number 3. As they're still side by side, hanging into the braking zone of turn 3. They're close. They are really wheel to wheel, really touching close to banging wheels. but Leo just could not seem to get it done. Reese escapes unscathed and takes that spot. And meanwhile, by the way, going into turn 1, Goat Lee has taken 8th place from Blue Gagi. So Blue Gagi is now looking to be out of the points right now. Leo Lund now has Eric right behind him, trying to see what will happen. But let's take a look back at the fight here for the last points paying position. Blue Gagi on the inside against Goat Lee. And Blue Gagi down the inside, and almost a little switchback by Goat Lee. Goat Lee trying to think about fighting on the outside, just can't seem to get it done. Maybe not. They're still side by side as they head towards turn number 5 now, and they're still side by side there. How are they still now going over? Oh, Blue Gagi gets a little too rambunctious, riding on the curb, and into the wall he goes. And now Goat Lee reclaims the 8th place position. Meanwhile, Leo Lund has gone wide out of the first corner of Sector 3, and Eric takes advantage, saying, "Thank you very much. I'll gladly take that 4th place."
Yeah, it's allowed Reese to pull away for the last podium spot, and that battle between Reese and Leo allowed George to pull away for 2nd place, which is now an 8.8 buffer to Jack Miles, who is trying to win for the 27th time in F2, but the 5th time this season that would be. And this sprint race would not get him the championship yet, but I'll tell you right now, it's going to better his chances, especially considering he got pulled, and this would be the 8 points he would need. Goat Lee and Gagi having a fierce battle, and maybe Reese can get George here soon if there's any mistakes made. He did get the gap down about 2 to 3 tenths, but it's going to take a miracle right there with their situations. Nice little battle here for 8th place. It's the last point spot. It might not mean much, but for these guys, it might mean a little bit to the next place they claim in the championship. A lot of argy-barginess between everybody today. Everyone's not liking a race clean, I guess. But hey, hard racing it is sometimes, right?
Or maybe no love lost between these guys. I mean, with Goat Lee and Blue Gagi, I mean, these two work together in Red Bull Academy. So this is a little bit, smash into the wall. There he was there, but that's going to allow Goat Lee to think about trying an attack to get past what's essentially basically his boss. Going a long way around into turn 3. Goat Lee trying to get it done, but just can't seem to get it done. But we'll get back to that, because coming out of the last couple of corners, as you mentioned, is Blue Gagi into the wall.
I think that was major contact. He just slammed the barrier. I did not catch that, but that is huge. I'm going to go to his Twitch stream to find out what happened. Jack Miles will cross for a 5th win of the season and 27th all-time in F2. I'll have you take that away, but that is huge, and Leo's lost his place to his teammate.
Yeah, so here comes Jack in a very nice, comfortable lead. He will cross the line to claim win number 27 and extend his championship lead by an additional 10 points. He wins the sprint race. George right behind. Probably another lap. Reese would have gotten him. He's in 3rd. Eric will take 4th. But now here comes the 2 Primas. They will come across the line with Night Owl in 5th and Leo Lund in 6th. Now we have a bit of a long way before the next driver comes across the line, which will be True Streamer Boy down in 7th place.
I found out what happened.
Now, because of what just happened there, Jack is now 49 points ahead of Skither going into this feature race. So, I mean, unfortunately, at this present moment, the Drivers' Championship is not going to be claimed at this present moment.
Constructors still can be. I don't know the full situation there. We'll find it out.
Maybe I have it wrong, yeah.
In a little bit, but I just watched the replay of what happened there with Gagi and Goat Lee. Unless there was contact, Gagi completely missed the corner. He locked up the right front and just slammed that wall. I thought there was contact just simply due to the fact they were running extremely close to one another, but that did not happen. Jack Miles, celebrates on the top step of the podium for the 5th time this season, 27th time in F2. And it's ironic, though, the top 3, they are all champions there. Tier 3 for George, maybe Tier 2 soon. Jack Miles has taken an F2 championship twice in the past, and Reese Dainty is an F1 Tier 2 and F2 champion of the past. So it's quite nice to see what is up there on the top step. Leo Lund made that mistake on the last lap, and Night Owl passed him for 5th, so a swap there between the two teammates. Because the incident there from what happened with Gagi, Goatley did claim the last points, and Sure Streamer Boy, I believe this is his best result in RPL. Congrats to him on that. If I'm going to give a driver of the day, though, in this sprint race, I'm going to give it to Jack Miles. Only 8 drivers saw the flag, so we had 6 we lost from the event. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, it is quite a loss there. But yeah, Jack Miles on top for Invicta. George second, and Reese rounds out the podium in regards to there. So here we're going to be heading into the next event, which is going to be we're going to be going into the next event, which is the feature race. So Invicta. So let's see. So Jack, let's see. So True Streamer Boy was Dams. He finished in 7th. So that's basically an additional 8 points that Invicta will have over Dams at this moment. So at this moment, Invicta is 115 points ahead of Dams, which means if Invicta outscores Dams by 15 points in the feature, Invicta will claim the constructors.
Yep, I will start doing the math there. We've got 10 seconds until lights out. One thing I want to mention is the next time Wavy shows up, he'll have a qualifying ban. And one thing we did not mention is SV got banned from racing in all tiers last week. So here we come for the lights out. We have Jack now on pole position.
5 lights come on for the feature race. It's the battle of the Invictas. Lights out and off we go. And we have a Gango behind. That is George getting all squirrely. And a fight almost 3 wide between Leo, Ardell, and Blue Gagi, as they all are filing into position, trying to get a spot in here. A little bumping and banging between Skither and George. And that is gonna allow Leo to come in and say hello. I'm here to play as well. Ooh. Here comes Leo into the back of Skither. Ooh, that was very close. And a little further back, Goat Lee, by the way, taking care of True Streamer Boy, but True Streamer Boy fighting back for the 9th place spot. They got Night Owl right behind, who got a bit of a poor run. And Leo, this is similar to how it was in F1 a few months ago between them. Leo getting ahead of Skither, but it worked out better. We have a car around in the background. That is Night Owl around. And that is not good for Prima. That's going to hurt him.
Yeah, Zora got involved in it too. We got 4 places came from Goatley, 4 places from Leo. Those are our biggest winners. It was a major slipstream race down to turn 3, Titan. It was Skither, Leo, and George, the 3 cars going down into the corner. Whoever the car was in front was trying to protect it, and Skither and George did make contact later on down when the place was changed between Leo and Skither, because Skither was trying to protect the place. Skither now with his championship hopes here, knowing it won't be clinched today, but it is seriously on the line. He needs to do a lot. Both the victors have pulled out a big margin out in front, and that could be very well good enough if everything goes their way. We're going to end up calculating everything we got here, but nonetheless, lap 1 will be complete with Jack Miles in front. Our tire situation, we have most of the fill-in super stops. Eric, George, and Night Owl are the only ones not. Reese Dainty and Blue Gagi are racing down the straight. They're teammates for today, but nonetheless, Reese Dainty is ahead.
Yeah, same with Goat Lee having to deal with Ardell. Ardell going around the outside of Goat Lee to get himself into there. Oh,
Ardell.
Is that Ardell in the wall?
Yeah, he lost the rear, and Goat Lee had nowhere to go. An innocent bystander.
Well, that is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Gagi's looking to have an attack back at Reese, while Reese is trying to maybe have a go at George, but I think everyone's going to stay single file into the corner. Yes, they do. That's very unfortunate for Goat Lee. Ardell, he just needed Ardell to go to a split second earlier, and it did not happen.
Yeah, let's see if Goat Lee has any damage on that VAR. I don't see any damage on that VAR, so it looks like he is okay. But meanwhile, Ardell looks like he's okay as well. I don't see any damage on his car. He's okay. Yeah. Woo, baby.
They were getting aggressive a few corners before, but there was no contact there. Now, at least side pod to side pod, it was gearbox to front wing a little bit, a few corners to go, and it is again, but I'll tell you right now, these guys are getting very racy for 5th place right here. They know what's on the line to catch Skither, Leo, Minico, and Jack.
Yeah, speaking about with those leaders, by the way, Minico 1.2 seconds behind Jack. Leo Lund 1.5 seconds behind Minico. But that's gonna allow there. Ardell is in the wall. We have a safety car now.
So we get a safety car for Ardell crashing out of the race, but we don't get a safety car for Skither crashing out of the race. Well, whatever happened, Night Owl has no front wing. Zora has damage on his car. And is anybody going to make their pit stop now? I believe you are allowed to. Skither is in. Leo is in. Minico is in. Very interesting there. Guys, it messes up tight.
This is I think this is a mistake.
No,
because I think if my memory's right, you can go in at the end of lap 3, and we're on the start of lap 3.
I don't think so, though. I think they changed that last game. I'm pretty sure, because you know the whole VSC rule. We remember with Josh onto the VSC in Saudi Arabia last season. He got away with this. So anything with that, I believe is okay now. Usually it wouldn't have been back then, but I'll tell you right now, though, if that isn't the case, Titan, you know, it screws over those guys who were on mediums who did not pit, and Eric got a 10-second for, you guessed it, speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, speeding in the pits, especially in F2, is actually very, very detrimental, and you have to be very careful on what happens. But yeah, Eric is really on the back foot here. He's going to have to hope for a lot of incidents that wind up happening to wind up gaining positions as the race continues on. But speaking of which, we're taking a look. I mean, everyone has pitted, with the exception of 3 people. Jack, True Streamer Boy, and George has stayed out.
Quick question. How many points are 5th and 6th for the sprint race again?
5th and 6th, if my memory is right. 6 is 3 points, and 5th is 4.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because technically, Prema are still in this fight for the constructors. Not realistically, but mathematically. So I just want to make sure as I tally up the results from the sprint race moments ago. But very unfortunate to Ardell's race there. It's just not good to see. I mean, in the sprint race, we had all 3 Canadian drivers who are competing in this event out of the race. So hopefully Minico and Zora and change things around there for the nation of Canada. Into the pit lane comes Jack Miles. You might be right about that then. If Jack Miles waited to the end of lap 3, that is a fair...
True Streamer Boy too.
Yeah, that is a fair point to mention. Could it be a mistake? We'll find out. I'm going to quickly find that out in a moment after I figure out the standing situation. But Eric is going to be into the pit lane to serve that 10-second. This does mean everybody should be on the medium compound tires except for Egg. And I do wonder your question there, Invade. Egg not banned from racing in F2. He was before, unless he got permission to race like Faded suggested. Then you know, I don't know the full situation there, but nonetheless, 4 more laps this feature race is than the sprint, so a little bit more time to stay composed and figure it all out. But the guys who were affected with damage that I am aware of, the backfield, Zora, Night Owl, they did fix their front wings though, so they will get another chance at things here on the restart. But George F. Williams does lead the Grand Prix, and he has yet to pit. He was on the medium tires, he stayed out. There's really no point for him to go to Super Softs because they're not going to make it to the end. So that's why he stayed out. And one other thing that we did not mention from our headlines at the beginning of the show, no more TT submissions. That was announced this morning or last night, one of the two.
I did forget about that.
So, yeah, that's something we'll mention a lot, probably more with you on deck for Tier 1 later today. And you know, since we speak of this championship race, you know, we don't always talk about the upcoming races until the end of the stream or a safety car. I want to give the attention to Qatar and Abu Dhabi, the next 2 races. You know, Qatar, we've had first-time winners there in the past. We've had punctures happen around that circuit, even track limit penalties be costly in this car. Abu Dhabi, I don't think we've raced that since the end of season 17. So, you know, a track like Baku we've not seen in a while come back, just like Abu Dhabi now. There's a lot of things to mention toward the end of our season that will be very, very spicy indeed. And I'm going to probably find out here in just a moment in time if the pit stops on those guys at the end of lap 2 were legal or not. Because you said it had to be after lap 3, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's what I remember. That's what I remember because that's what I remember, honestly. Yeah, that's actually what I remember, honestly, was that it was going to be, that was right around there, because I've seen cars go in at the end of lap 4, like lap 4-ish, which was the start of the lap that Jack and True Streamer Boy went in, so they should be safe and okay. And as you were mentioning earlier, you were trying to tally up all the points and everything. I will note this: the max for max points in an event is 65 for constructors. So 130 points is going to be the difference for round 9 and round 10 going into it.
Yeah, and someone who could have been in the equation with the two teams, ART and Trident. I guess in this event for ART, Trident have Reese and Gagi. I think Reese finished, what was it, 3rd in the sprint. That's that's 6 points, if I'm correct.
And Gagi died.
What?
And Gagi died.
Yeah.
In the sprint.
Yeah. Just trying to think of the amount of points. You said Invicta had 11, or was it 13 because of the pole and the fastest lap?
I
keep thinking it's F1 format now for some reason with the sprint.
Well, Jack got pole, which increased it by two points.
Okay,
over
so it'd be 13.
And then Jack,
lap.
and then for the sprint race, Jack got 10 points compared to True Streamer Boy, who only had 2. So he gained an additional 8 points. So that's 10 points total.
Okay, it's giving me the rules for the thing in this sprint race. I want the rules for the feature race here. Let's find this. All right. Well, we will get the safety car in.
Safety car's coming in.
Yeah, so we will have George Williams in control of the pack. Remember, he is not pitted yet. Egg and Zora are the only ones on different tires. And, you know, as we mentioned at Titan, you know, Zora did not have a fresh set of super softs because of pitting for them in the sprint race. So you can see that on the side of our screen. If you've got that pulled up, you do. Nonetheless, George Williams is going to go very slow, I think, and just, you know, way to go maybe to have the slipstream be a factor for some of those behind. We're going to see when he does go. He's going at 60 miles per hour, which is above the pit lane speed, so that is good on his end. That's one thing you do not want to do on the safety car. You do not want to go under the pit lane speed. That could get you a penalty or change your speed, but everyone's thinking he's going to go when he's not yet.
I think he's going to wait till...
Oh,
never mind. Yep, he's off. We're back and underway. And Leo Lund saying, hello, I'm going to take advantage of this. He's alongside Minico on the restart. I don't know if that's going to get him in trouble, but he does back off into turn 1. But Leo Lund looking on the inside to see if he can go for a shot. No, he does not. Leo Lund backs off. He maintains 3rd. But meanwhile, a little further back, Jack does get past Egg, same with True Streamer Boy. Actually, that's because Egg is still disconnected. That's why.
Yeah, he did leave the session. I'm not sure if he needs him by back or not, nonetheless. But Leo Lund trailing.
I know he left during the sprint.
Only just. But yeah, the thing is with Leo is that he almost took the back of Minico. Minico with the fresher tires is on the back of George, and I think if this is a fair thing to mention, Skither did say, lads, we do have to pit again. Look at your MFD. So yeah, I think I don't even need to look that one up for that whole situation. We have tried it. I think just clipping the barrier there in the background. I think that was Restanty just getting away with it. Yeah, or Gagi. Yeah, I mean they were close to one another, but whichever one it was, they got away with it.
In that case, I was gonna say in that case, if you're thinking the same like what Skither just said, then that means Minico all the way to Blue Gagi, they're gonna have to pit again. Which means that Jack and True Streamer Boy took full advantage of this, and now these two are well, they're likely going to be sitting 1-2.
hit the back
Yeah.
of George from the lead. Leo 1 now takes it. That was a big moment there. Minico got it wrong in the braking zone, hit George, got his rear car upset, and look at that. Everybody's backed up now. Here's everybody now having a chance to fight for it. Someone else who took advantage, I was just going to say, you could technically say would have been George because he's on, different strategy. He could go super softs here, but big
George
fight now down to
for a
turn
shot. Ooh, a little contact, but keeps it together. Skither thinking of sneaking a look, but decides to hold off. Let George and Leo brawl.
Whoa!
And whoa!
George.
A little contact between Skither and Leo.
There.
That was an unfortunate mishap.
Yeah, he locked it up and parked it right in front of Leo. Skither didn't realize that was happening. It caused Leo to slide there. Leo's now back behind Restanty, and the Invictas are hitting Leo now. The Invictas are trying to get up places, and they couldn't get it slowed down in time. We also have the VAR side by side with Gagi. This is the second dance between these two.
Well, I did see an end plate fly, so I think a car's got damaged, but I can't tell which one at this moment. Just trying to find it here, but looks like it's Gagi. Looks like Gagi does have it.
Whoa!
Oh, Gagi hits the championship leader.
Oh no!
And Eric into the wall. We have a big
damage.
mess.
Eric has major damage from that. So Skither now might have a chance to take advantage. Zora also got collected in that mess. That is huge. Huge incident. Baku Chaos in F2 always seems to be apparent.
Hate to say it, it was Blue Gagi's fault because he went for a dive bomb on Goat Lee. He was successful, but at what cost? He caused a big accident ahead of him by spinning Jack out, and it got Eric involved.
He get penalized after. Will that get submitted? Will Leo Lund's side-by-side action under the safety car, which is not allowed to get submitted? There's a lot of things going to be talked about after this event. Baku F2 Chaos always seems to strike, and it has struck again. Zora hit the wall back there. Nonetheless, a move made. Leo Lund and Restanty, Goatly and Gagi. I mean, it's all kicking off here. And you know what? Wherever you look, there is something going on, whether it's contact, a battle, or maybe the fact that some of these guys need to pit again. Jack is a back up to 10. That's still in the points. But, I mean, you got to wonder, is there a thing to say at what cost for it? Because True Streamer Boy now, when everything does kind of cycle out, may be the leader.
Yeah, that is true, because like I said, a lot of these guys are still going to have to pit later on. I mean, literally, guys like Skither, Leo, Reese, Minico, Goat Lee, and Gagi, they're going to have to pit again because of that miscommunication there on the pit. And by the way, Jack just reclaimed the lead from True, what could be the net lead from True Streamer Boy here. But, I mean, yeah, this is basically going to throw the entire championship into the ringer, thinking, well, let's see what happens here. I mean, also, don't forget Night Owl. Well, actually, I think Night Owl should be fine because he's back on the medium tires because he started the race on the mediums, switched to the super softs, and then went back in again for the mediums. So he is still actively able. So I think Night Owl actually has the net lead right now.
Problem is, he's got to get to the end though on those tires because it put him back on the old tires he was on. Zora is at trouble again majorly. He's got no front wing. Luckily, we don't have a VSC or safety car for that. We're free to race at the front. And speaking of the front of the field, look at this race into turn one. We're going to see this quite a bit in Vegas later today for the F1 cars.
Here we go.
Big battle.
Fun, fun, fun. Here comes Leo on the outside saying, hello, I'm taking over here.
Whoa!
He goes in there. George with a lockup. Ooh, but keeps it together. No problems there. Eric's wrecked.
And we do not have a VSC or safety car, but there's still a lot of movement going on. That movement with Skither and George was because Skither cut George off, causing George to have a major lockup. Further back, Reese and Minico and his trainer fighting it out. You see in the background maybe Goatly and Night Owl are racing for 6th. But here goes Minico going for the shot and is ahead. Zora has crashed behind. We do not have a safety car for
he's
that
retired
either.
on track, I think.
Goatly's
wrecked.
Goatly crashed where Gecko did in Tier 1, and that's a safety car.
Now this is a moment. This is gonna help This is gonna help the guys that pitted under the first safety car and did it a little too early. This is going to help these guys. They can go onto the super sauce, and George, this is gonna really help George out too.
The thing is, though, there are some guys at the back of the field in the sprint race who got really screwed over, who pitted onto super softs. So I hope if these guys go to super softs at the end of this event, they do have a fresh set. I'm gonna guess George would. George stayed out there with the damage he had in the sprint, and has not pitted yet in this race. So we know for sure he does have a fresh set. It's just from these other guys who does have a fresh set. This also puts Jack Miles back in the fight too with Skither. Skither is up there battling for the lead, of course, and will probably pit here under the safety car. But Jack Miles has a chance here. We have 10 drivers left in this race, meaning all of them will score points if they finish the event. The thing with True Streamer Boy, although he's not
Egg though.
What?
Not Egg though, because he's still disconnected. He's been disconnected since the very start, so he will be removed from the running order.
But that does still mean the top 9 will score points regardless then if they finish.
Yep.
We do have drivers coming to the pit lane. You gotta make sure you get it within the white lines. If you don't, you will be penalized. And I think
Leo stayed out.
Yeah, Skither and Leo both pulled dummies right there. Will that be similar to what Lewis Hamilton did in Germany 2019 and maybe be investigated after? We'll find out. Jack Miles also stays out. No surprise there, but I'm surprised he didn't want to go for a fresh set. Night Owl is making a front wing.
Stayed out too.
Yeah, Night Owl's making a front wing change. And yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about after. Whether it's in the steward's room, in this event, the chaos that's ensued, whatever it may be.
True Streamer Boy is going in as well. I think that's a little unusual. Oh, he's getting his wing change. That's why. So maybe the performance is not up to snuff that he was thinking. So he's going to be... But, I mean, the nice thing is, he's going to have very fresh super sauce available to him. But the downside is, he's going to be stuck behind the AI of Egg on the restart.
Leo Lund is trying to pull alongside the safety car here, and it's not the first time he's done it under the safety car. He's done it 3 times. He's maybe doing what Lewis Hamilton likes to do and say, go faster. But Leo, I recommend you be very careful doing that because you could easily get your wing chopped off or go out of the race. You know, if you go alongside
NASCAR, or for us in NASCAR terms, he's doing what Tony Stewart would do.
Right, or Kyle Busch. But nonetheless, you don't want to do that. You know, I'll tell you right now, I've seen drivers actually crash out from hitting the safety car before, whether it be the safety car's fault or your own fault. So, yeah, we will have a late race restart here, and you know what? This does remind me of many seasons ago in RPL F2. I think it was probably back in season 4 or 3. I want to say it was season 4. We had a photo finish between Wadey and... Not Wavy, Wadey. Yes, you're hearing that right. And one of the other drivers at the end of the event. You know, it did not end up being for the victory, technically. It was for the victory on track, but when there were penalties applied at the end due to the game and also the steward's room, it did not end up having that margin. And Leo and Skither, are they both going to the pit lane? Skither is. Leo faked him. Interesting that Skither pitted a lap later there. Did he think the super softs would have not made it to the end? Nonetheless, he's going to cost himself a lot of track position here. With that being said, the interesting thing with photo finishes as well, we had one in the F1 Tier 1 race here in Season 3, but the interesting thing is, just like I was saying earlier, track limit penalties came into effect there as well. So, could we see a photo finish happen where we don't have any in-game penalties come to effect, but we could definitely have penalties later on come into effect? Gagi got into an incident, Leo got into an incident technically that could be penalized, that it's going side by side under the safety car, which does earn you a 5-second. Miniko had an incident in the sprint, but I'm not sure if he had one yet in the feature. I know Skither's quite unhappy with him. I'm not sure what else we would have with that being said, but both of our dams sit 9th and 10th. Our Invictus sit 2nd and 5th. I'll get the points up there in just a moment, but Titan, we're in for a thriller of a finish.
Yeah, absolutely. When the safety car does come in, we're gonna have We're going to have 4 laps to go in this race. So
And Minico did get into
our...
an incident, by the way. It was with George, just to clarify. That was the one I was referring to after for this event. Excuse me there.
Okay, sounds good. So here is our running order currently. We have Leo Lund currently leading the event, with Jack right behind in second, Blue Goggy in third, George is sitting in fourth, Minico is fifth, Reese sixth, Night Owl in seventh, Egg, who's in AI, is technically 8th, but is actually going to be True Streamer Boy, who will be in 8th place. And Skither, who's at the back of the field, is going to be in 9th place. We lost a couple of guys. We had Goat Lee crashing in turn number 3. We had Eric involved in an incident at the fast chicane. Then we lost Zora, who I think retired on track. And then Ardell wound up crashing as well.
Zora and Eric both retired on track. Zora mentioned what happened in the Twitch chat for that incident. Goatley also apologized there. I believe we might get a late call here from the safety car. We do. Look at this.
Yep.
Skither caught up at the last moment, and it was a late call. That means Leo probably cannot go in the same area George did, though. But he does control the pace, and he can leave it late. But he also has to be careful at his speed, and he does choose to go now, but the safety car is not fully pulled in the pits. Will the game back him off? I think it maybe just did slightly. Nonetheless, Leo Lund leads this Grand Prix still.
Yeah, so we're back on the way here in Baku with Jack in pursuit of Leo to try to get the lead there. Minico clocks the wall in turn number 1. Hopefully that doesn't hurt him too much in that sense, but well, let's take a look at some of the other cars. Let's see if anyone's going to be going for a shot early. Maybe not, but here comes Jack looking for a shot. Is he going to go for it? Going inside. Here we go. Little rub, a very tight wheel-to-wheel racing between these two. Leo Lund, the champion of Tier 1, Season 11, going up against Jack, his team principal and teammate in Tier 1. They're still fighting side by side, but Jack inevitably does claim the lead. But here comes George right behind.
Whoa!
Is Leo Lund looking for a shot? Woo! Tight. Oh man, that's tighter than my ex right there.
Whoa!
But George does take second place. Whoa, baby!
They went side by
stuff
side
there.
in the
Minico
castle.
off in the wall.
Minico's around. Holy cow!
My goodness!
I was just gonna say, they were bound to go side by side in the castle because no one could fit it in a single file. And with that being said, Leo Lund and Jack, who collided in China, they stay alive this time. They're teammates in F1, and they kept it clean, but George got the upper end there, and he's on the fresh super soft tires. George can take full advantage of this. Titan, you were saying it got very tight there. I'm not surprised it was as tight as it was, even with the example you're using, but nonetheless, the Tridents are close to fourth, and the lead is now for grabs.
Here comes Reese, too.
Yeah, George.
Reese looking for a shot against his teammate Blue Goggy, but the lead is up on ahead. Yeah, George ahead, takes over the lead. Meanwhile, Reese trying to file past Blue Goggy to go into 4th place. He does so. Skither right behind gets past Night Owl for P6. But now, like I said, Reese and Skither having those tires available to them, they can take full-fledged advantage and run off. And basically run off with it here. And meanwhile, we got trouble. That's True Streamer Boy into the wall in turn number 2. That is really gonna hurt him, and that's even gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. Well, that's gonna hurt.
Skither goes for a dive.
Skither
goes for a dive, and Goggy's in the wall.
Oh Lord! And Night Owl takes complete advantage. He's on the inside against Skither here, and as they fight into turn 5 and 4 and 5. Sorry, but yeah, Skither does get ahead of Night Owl. He is up in the 5th place, and looks like, yeah, True Streamer Boy in trouble again, but that's him down in P9 though. Minico will be in 8th place right now, but yeah, even if True Streamer Boy retires, he will still be credited with the position at this moment. But meanwhile, Leo Lund looking this. Yeah, that's true. But Leo Lund, by the way, in pursuit of Jack. This is for the 2nd place spot. This is something that Jack really needs to make sure that he doesn't lose on, because if he loses this position to to Leo, this is gonna wind up challenging for Invicta, because they are currently at risk of maybe having to not claim the constructors here tonight. Here comes Leo down the inside, and he gets it done. Reese says hello. He wants in on the action too. Is he gonna go for a shot on the inside? The answer is no. But into the back of him though goes Reese in the Jack. With 2 laps to go, Minico claims the fastest lap of the event, so Invicta will get a fastest lap point here. And Jack now in pursuit of Leo to go to reclaim second place, but he's got Reese right there as well. Here comes Jack down the inside to get it done. Reese says, I'll follow you on this regard. And Reese trying to fight for what's essentially the last spot on the podium. They're bashing and banging between these two. Ooh, yeah, this is getting very close and easy here, but Reese finally gets it done. He is clear of Leo and now can hunt down Jack.
Skither needs to reel these guys in. He needs to get there. And the thing is, with that being said, he took forever to get by True Streamer Boy, who is out of this race. George has had 3 wins in RPL F2. He's looking to gain another chance at a championship in Tier 2. And you know what? This is another chance at some momentum tonight. With that being said, he could get 20 wins all time, I believe, tonight across all tiers. I'll fact check that in a bit. But with it being said, he is trying to break a 9-season drought of not winning an RPL F2. We had a lot of droughts broken in Tier 2 this season, the tier that George is full-time in and can win the championship in. But George, who's looking for win number 4, has not won since Season 11. It was Season 11 back in Hungary, the second sprint race there. George's last victory. He'll take the last lap here now. But with that being said, it would be a huge 9-season drought broken, and Leo and Reese might go for a shot. Jack.
And Leo Lund is out, so Blue Gagi is also going to be out as well.
Yup, that will be big for Skither.
I called it.
Yeah, you were right. You were right. You were right. That is super big for the guys who finish in the points and don't. It seems like, as you would say, the Wild Wild West, barely anybody finishing tonight in Baku.
I called it. I knew it was going to happen.
I was right.
And Skither did say this is what's going to happen, and he was right. So now, because of that, guess what? True Streamer Boy is now going to inherit 7th place. So Dams, at this present moment, will be getting 18 points to the repertoire.
That's just
compared
not true,
to Invicta.
True Streamer Boy is not going to get credit with a finish, though, because he retired with 2 laps to go. He will not be credited with a finish, and you'll not be classified. If you don't finish a race in RPL, you don't get points. Gagi had that happen when he finished in the top 10 in F1 Saudi Arabia 2 seasons ago. Would have been his first F1 points finish, but it wasn't because he didn't finish.
I thought you can still get credited with points if you completed 90% of the race distance.
If you're classified, yes, but I don't think that's 90%. Jack just smacked the wall big time, but I don't think that'll matter unless Skither can find some way to gain 9 tenths in one straight.
Well, anything's possible here, but coming out of the last couple of corners for the final time, George is going to be claiming victory here for the first time in 9 seasons. He is going to get it done in the main feature race. George wins the feature. Reese will claim 2nd. Wow. Jack is 3rd. Skither 4th. And Night Owl is 5th. And Minico will be the last point scorer in 6th place.
Wow. What a chaotic event in Baku. This, you know, as we always say in real life, and we've not said it a lot in recent years, but we can say it's tonight for F2. Well done, Baku. It never disappoints with the chaos we see. It might not be what we want to see, but it's insane, the stuff we see around this circuit. George wins for the 2nd time this weekend, but now has won in different tiers on this F1 game. That's crazy to say.
Yeah, it is quite crazy to say, but there is the podium. George winds up claiming victory for the first time in 9 seasons. Fair credit to him. Jack in third place. Fair credit to him for trying. And then Reese pulling out a phenomenal drive to finish off in second place. And I won't lie, for the feature, I will just say truthfully, because of him ending that drought, George, I think, in my opinion, will have driver of the day for the feature race for ending that large drought. Reese very close behind in the for that run there. He started all the way in 10th, got finished up in 2nd, so I say that's fair credit to him. Yeah, very wild stuff.
I'll tell you right now, though, I mean, that was just chaotic. I don't know if we can handle much more of that later today, but we'll definitely have the race at the front of the field we saw in a turn one quite a bit. Later tonight in Vegas for RPL F1, where a constructors can be claimed. And speaking of the constructors, you put the points together here, and if you still only include Skither's points that he's got, the championship still goes on. So yeah, and can I just say one thing about Skither right there with that result? Regardless of giving up the track position, regardless of not fighting his way through the field as quick as I thought he maybe would have, he definitely limited the amount of damage done, at least on the feature race side of things, compared to what happened to him in the sprint. The gap at the top of the table between him and Jack, you said it would be 49 points at the end of the sprint race, but I think that was without fastest lap included, if I'm correct. If we look at the gap now,
because Jack did not get the fastest lap.
The game said Jack
someone
did.
else did.
Someone else did.
Yeah. On my screen, it was one of the retired guys.
All right. Well, even if it was or wasn't, I'll tell you right now, though, Titan, it's either going to be a 52 or 53 point gap at the front of our field between Jack and Skither. So Skither has a lot of ground to make up here in the next 2 rounds in Qatar and Abu Dhabi, but Baku never disappoints when it comes to underdog results or crazy endings or crazy races. George Williams gets his 20th win across all tiers. You know what? We recently put in something in the fun facts section with the top 10 all-time wins across all RPL tiers. George now has the same amount of wins as Cookie, tying him for 8th. I mean, I have to give George a lot of credit. I said yesterday in Tier 2, since the end of last game before that ban in Tier 2 that he got across all tiers for a little bit, George, due to dirty driving, and messing around and ignoring RPL rules, he really was on a downfall, it looked like. And I said last night he was one of the most improved drivers, if not the most improved driver, due to what we're seeing. And, with the podiums we've seen from him recently in F2, even last season, now this season happened, and now a victory, I definitely think he's solidifying himself as the most improved driver compared to anybody else right now. He's really on a good streak, George's 20 wins across all tiers. And none of them have come in Tier 1.
Yeah, all of his wins have come from F2, Tier 2, and Tier 3. So George is really showing his stride in regards to that. So fun. Congrats to George for that win. Very nice job for him. Well, that's going to be concluding the stream for RPL F2 for today. But in a couple of hours, join myself, Tan Iron. I guess from what I'm looking at it, I'm going to be by myself for Tier 1 because Searles is off to doing something fun and important. Fun times for him. But I know one thing. He'll be partnering me again for Tier 1 for next week. But for later tonight, it's going to be just me.
You make it sound like the situation with your ex there, the fun I'm off to. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. Anyways, congrats to Jack for winning the sprint race, and congrats to George for winning the feature.
Both Welsh drivers.
We are going to be signing off. Ty9 Wolf and Cyril saying good night, and we'll see you later for Tier 1.
Bye-bye. See you then.